The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, we do encourage you to like and share them on Facebook. Subscribe, like, and share to Rudy Howard's African American Scene, Wednesday evenings at 6:05 on WPSL, Alexa, Google Home, and of course the TuneIn app. And the archives are on YouTube. So let's get started. Here's your host, Rudy Howard.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Always glad to be with you here on a Wednesday night. I've been battling a cold, but I'm here because, I will play hurt. So if I get a cough every now and then, it's me fighting this cold. But listen, I might fade out toward the end of the program because I was up till about 3 o'clock in the morning trying to find out who won Warnock and Ossoff. Finally, at 3 o'clock, I gave up and I decided I better get some sleep. But we find out today that Ossoff won. And with all of the crazy things going on, I don't know how much you guys realize the significance of Ossoff and Warnock winning in Georgia. In a deep southern state, you had a black man and a Jewish man win the Senate. I'll bet you 20 years ago, there is nobody on this planet that would think a black man and a Jewish man could win the Senate in Georgia. That's for sure.
They wouldn't have even thought of it back then.
No.
Wow.
But that's pretty amazing. And listen, Stacey Abrams is getting shout outs all over Facebook. And really, what's quietly happened, this lady is a dynamo. Kemp stole the election from her. Most everybody knows he did. She didn't whine. She didn't cry. She said, I know how to correct this situation. I'm going to go out and work my butt off, and I'm going to get people to vote Democrat and get more Democrats registered. And that's exactly what she did. And the net effect was Biden won Georgia, and Ossoff and Warnock won the Senate in Georgia. So I think she got her revenge. There is a lesson to be learned there. I want you to hear again the lesson to be learned. Almost everybody thinks she got screwed in her race for governor. Kemp was the Secretary of State. He controlled the election process and would not resign from Secretary of State when he was running for governor. I think that's something interesting. Well, I would like to share with you, over the last 6 months, I have really made a gallant effort to try to understand conservatism. I've read magazine articles. I've read internet articles, and I've come to some conclusions. But here's what I'd like for you first, before I get into this. If you saw what happened today, I guess some of you were working, and you're just catching up with it now as you're coming home to have dinner. Tell me what you think about that, because a lot of you called me. You were deeply upset about Black Lives Matter. I'd like to tell me what you thought about today with people breaking into the Congress and in the people's offices, breaking windows, et cetera, et cetera. So I'd like to know, what's your thoughts about that?
You know, the thing about call-in radio shows, we just had a gentleman call and he wanted me to relay a comment to you, and I thought it wouldn't be proper for me to do that. It's a call-in show.
Right.
So if you got any comments about the show or what's going on, 340-1590 is the number to call.
There you go. So, again, I just welcome your thoughts about what you saw today. So, the book that I just finished reading, which kind of put into perspective a lot of the research that I had done, is called It's All a Lie by Stuart Stevens. And he is a conservative research person, and he's also worked in several campaigns, including George H. Bush and George W. Bush. And what he does in the book, he kind of rips the scab off of conservatism and gives you the real inside peek at what it's all about. There's a lot of things that I thought that I've never said because I couldn't confirm them. But he's kind of confirmed them for me. Yes, Cliff.
Okay, we have an anonymous gentleman on the phone with you now, and he just didn't want to be identified, but he does have an important comment for the show. Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Rudy.
Yes.
There is a mayor for New York. His name is Dinkins.
I'm familiar with him.
I don't know if you remember him.
Very well.
Okay, there is a opponent that was coming against him named Giuliani.
Yes, I remember him.
Giuliani instigated the biggest march, including the police officers, the bridges in New York and everything, and he did that. The same thing that Trump did today. Trump instigated this demonstration. And that's exactly what Giuliani did when he was coming up against Dinkins.
Yep.
Yes.
I agree.
You could check it, I'm telling you.
No, I don't have to, because I think I was living there. I was living there at the time. So I'm very familiar with Dinkins.
Yes.
Yeah, so what you're saying is true.
That's all the bridges on it.
Yeah.
Yes, Giuliani did it.
Okay. Well, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Jay on line 3. Yes, sir.
Okay, good afternoon, Rudy. I hope you feel better, brother.
Yes.
Hope you feel better. You know, I watched it. I'm still watching. You know, I was still watching some of this stuff, and because I was watching the election and all that, I was very, very proud of the people in Georgia because I have a lot of relatives in Savannah, and I encouraged them. You know, I was going back and forth with them, and I have some that moved from Savannah to Atlanta to work and got jobs and make their careers there. And they were all very involved. They were both deeper than I was really surprised that they were so deep into politics that they were really wrapped up in it. It was just beautiful listening to the conversation. But getting back to what happened in today. Now I think about my life. I think about what I told you what happened to me when I first moved here. I was just jogging. I was just out running and jogging like everybody else out here, hundreds of people every day, exercising, and stopped by the Port St. Cop. Just for nothing. Now, here's people breaking and storming the Capitol. And it reminded me of Charlottesville. When I was looking at this, I could have closed my eyes and opened it up and watching those flags and watching all the rebel flags and all of the white supremacist flags and all of the stuff that they do, Proud Boys, all that junk. And not one of them was stopped or told, they just let them do what they wanted to do. And even after the police came, it seemed like they were treated with kid gloves. Now, like you would say, and if that was Black Lives Matter, anybody that's out there that's peacefully protesting, they caught hell from the police. The police were spraying them. I watched it on TV. I saw the whole thing. Just about every city that had it, I watched it, and I saw everything they were doing to them. And it's disgusting, and something needs to be done. And I hope that Biden, the president-elect, when he comes in office, I hope that he doesn't drag his foot and say, well, let's just forget about that. No, we're not going to forget about this. If they were smart, they would impeach Trump. That way he could never run for dog catcher
Right.
for anything, if they were smart enough to do that right now, to punish him for the rest of his life. But it was just appalling watching how they, and what it reminded me of was watching how they, storming the Capitol. And I remember I this brought back flashbacks to me when President Kennedy got assassinated, and I was over in Germany, and they gave me my orders was to protect the communication building because they had a lot of top secret stuff in that building. And my thing was to stand outside. If anybody tried to come into that building that didn't have a badge on, that authorization to go into where all that top secret and crypto stuff was, shoot them. That was my orders.
Right.
And to me, that's what should have been with the orders of all of those cops when they knew these people were coming, because Trump had already organized it and told them what was going on, what they're going to do, and they should have been out there ready. And as soon as they stepped foot in there, when they broke those glasses to come inside there, they should have just loaded off on them. That, to me, should have been the way to do it, and that would have stopped it right in its tracks, and it would have been all over. But I don't know. I don't know your opinion of that, but that's the way I look at it from what I was taught.
You're not the first person that said that to me. Believe it or not, my assistant, who is generally a pacifist, said the exact same thing you said. There should have been somebody that when they broke through those windows that put them out.
Right.
But thank
that
you,
was
Jay.
my orders, and I never forgot. I just never forgot that from when I was, when I was in the service, and that was my orders. And that building should never have been a breach like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to let that. Some of your callers, some of your people out, your callers might not agree with me, but just think about what they did to the U.S. Capitol.
You're entitled to your opinion, my friend.
Okay, thanks a lot.
We got another
Have
caller.
a nice one.
We got Steve on line 2. Yes, Steve.
Hey, Rudy.
Yes.
I would say it's good to talk to you. But, I'm just worried about a lot of things. But let's talk about facts. The facts are, you know what the definition of an anarchist is. An anarchist doesn't take sides, and George Soros has supported both sides of many protests, as we will call it. And as you know, the excuse given by the Democrats, the progressives, was that, within their ranks had been infiltrated people because in their protest was basically mothers and fathers and grandparents and, young students. But as a majority, they were nonviolent, right? That was the excuse.
That wasn't an excuse. That was the statement. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was a statement. That was an excuse. That wasn't a statement. That was an excuse.
That was a statement. There's a difference between an excuse and a statement.
Even if it is a statement, let's say that, okay, if that statement is true, I don't need to be preached to and saying all these things about these people by hypocrites that if I can use the same thing. Understand, my ideology is not any of that, but my fear is the anarchist. The anarchist will play on both sides. And the trouble here is anarchists play into the hands of socialists, Marxists, and communists.
What is a Marxist?
Understand this. Understand. I won't wait let me finish. Marxism has to have victims to gain power.
It has to have what?
They got to have victims. They have to gain public support by creating victims. And it doesn't matter if they can create conservative or if they can create liberal or progressive victims, victimhood mentality, because that's their power. And understand that from my point of view, and it's proven itself in the past, and I told you this a long time ago. I said, you go read the USSR Constitution from 1936 and see what it says. Did you do that?
Keep talking.
Did you? I'm asking you a direct question.
Well, I'm asking, and I'm telling you, read it? And I'm telling you to keep talking. Make your point.
You did not read it. So you did not read it. and this is what makes me so mad. The USSR was the biggest socialism experiment. It took victims and made a government. And that Constitution promised so much to the people. And the USSR didn't last 69 years. The same road. History repeats itself. And I'm tired of it. The history will repeat itself, Rudy. From these USSR Constitution drafted almost exactly. I read it to you one night, and you went, that sounds pretty good. And you said, hey, Steve, you came up with that? No, I didn't come up with that. That's Stalin. Understand, this United States, where people have free access to emergency care, they have free education, they have all the benefits and opportunities in the United States.
People do not have free access to emergency care. Don't tell a lie. That's a lie. Go ahead.
I'm not. You go to you read on the sign in the emergency room. This is what makes me so mad. Free education. Do you understand that one of the leading causes in the United States is obesity? You tell me another nation, a socialist nation, that has that. Why should I be mad and upset? Because what the opportunities are in this country are so great and so just overbounding with joy. The liberals and the progressives, they want to just take it and they want to just tear it up.
That's not true. That's not true.
It is, Rudy. Fundamentally,
it is not true, Steve. You can't tell me, you're trying to tell me what I want for America, and you have an inaccurate reflection of what I want for America.
I'll tell you why. The exact reason why.
Well, you can't tell me what I want. You can give me your opinion, but you can't tell me what I want for America. I can tell you what I want from America and what I think most of my friends want for America. I can tell you that.
Is it in agreement with the 1936 USSR Constitution? Does it have the possibility that it's going to fail in 69 years because of that? Number one, you don't have empirical data, historical data, to prove that any Marxism or socialism. Look, you and I grew up in a time when Africa was trying to take over by socialist leadership.
Well, let me ask you a question, Steve. Let me ask you a question. Is China a failure? Is China a failure? Just answer the question, yes or no. Is China a failure?
Is China a failure?
Are they a failure?
Not a socialist.
Are they an economic failure?
Is USSR a failure? Yes.
No, I didn't ask you about USSR.
We know you're an expert on the USSR. He's asking you about China.
I'm asking you about China.
I'm saying China is not socialist. It's a dictatorship.
It
if you don't
is
believe
socialistic.
That, go ask the people that they confiscated. They made state property, and they took all their land away to build a dam.
So
you tell me about freedom of religion.
So
you tell me about socialism. It's not there, Rudy.
So are you telling me that Putin is not a dictator in Russia?
It's not a good nation to live in.
I am asking. Don't dodge questions. You can't dodge questions to try to make it fit your narrative.
Give me your best.
Answer the question.
Argument. Give me your best argument for socialism.
I'm not going to give you an argument for socialism because I don't believe in socialism. Why don't you ask me what I believe?
There is not a historical data to prove any of your positions without hypocritical statements.
You don't ask what you ask me what I believe, and then I'll tell you.
Okay.
You're trying to put me in a box, and you know I'm way too smart for you to do that. I would think after all these years of talking to me, you would have figured out that I'm much too smart for you to do that too. But go ahead. You still try to do it all the time, but go ahead, help yourself. But if you want to know what I think, I will tell you what I think.
Rudy, you have already told me what you think. Don't you understand you and I have had meetings together? But don't you understand that I've been come to your office and had face-to-face talk? Do you understand I gave you my phone number that you could call and talk to me at any time? Do you understand that I wanted to get together with you and you never took any process to do so? Do you understand that I care about this country in a way that's constitutional, not a fundamental change? Do you know Liberia? You spoke facts. Liberia took our Constitution, and the slaves tried to go back to Africa, and they took our Constitution. But you know why it fell? Because of dictatorship, because of socialism. And it still struggles, even though they took our Constitution. Our Constitution has given the right for those people. There's no socialist country that black people are trying to go to right now to say, hey, this is where we're going to go, and everybody's going to be equal. We're going to have the best. There's no one that white people are flocking to or brown people. You know, you make accusations like, the United States is getting brown, and they don't like it. Will you tell me one brown nation that has what we have to offer?
Well, it is getting brown.
Huh?
It is getting brown.
Very brown.
The United States is getting
It
brown.
doesn't matter, but you tell me one brown nation. These people are not coming. These people are coming from somewhere else. If they bring their ideology, their philosophy, their politics here, do you not think that we'll have the same problems they do?
Oh, Steve.
You can't. You have no empirical data. You make assumptions.
So are you. You're making
again.
assumptions. You're making assumptions that anybody that comes to these shores to participate in the American dream comes with an agenda to do something different other than what our Constitution says we want to be. That's an assumption. We got plenty. If you have been watching your TV on the evening news when their doctors are reporting COVID and all the testing and all the things that are going on trying to help the American people, have you noticed there's a good percentage of those people are brown? Did you have you ever noticed that? Have you noticed? Just answer the question. Have you noticed that a good percent of those doctors reporting on the health of America are brown?
For what? They're brown Americans. They're not from somewhere else.
They are some of them.
They're brown Americans because they took advantage.
Some of them are from somewhere else. That is your racial bias thinking. That is part of what I learned in my study of conservatism and the scab that Stuart Stevens pulled off. He says, my conservatives do not want to admit that they have racial thoughts when it comes to non-white people. They want conservatism. I'm just repeating what the man said. This is not me saying it. This is the white man who was a conservative said it. He said, my party wants to be the white party. We've told them in several. He said in several meetings that we've had to discuss the importance of expanding the tent of conservatism in order to make our movement more viable. They listen and then they do nothing. They don't try to do anything to expand. I'm just telling you what the man said.
You're defining conservatism with a color. Do you know Trump got more black votes?
I'm telling you what the man said.
Do you understand? I don't care what the person said. The character, the results is that black people are becoming more and more conservative. They're tired of this crap, Rudy. We put God out in the country. You play a game with your religion. You make God to what you want it to be. You don't follow the Bible perfectly. You give me an excuse. You say, hey, well, some people can read it this way and some people can read it that way, but you don't put the justice and the conditions of responsibility on what you read and what it says and what it means in your life, and then defend your position. You use an excuse. And that's called subjective thinking.
I do not use excuses. That's That's not me. I don't know who you're talking about, but
then
that's not
why
me.
Why would you tell me when I try to explain the Bible? You told me last time. This made me furious. You said, well, after Steve's phone call, you know what this is like? Reminds me of, Cliff? The Ku Klux Klan using the Bible. You know, there's misinterpretations of the Bible, of course.
Did the Ku Klux Klan use the Bible?
You can't use misinterpretation.
Did they do it? Yes or no? Did the Ku Klux Klan use the Bible to justify their behavior? Yes or no?
Let me answer the question. Is it a use of the Bible to misuse the Bible?
Answer the question.
Is it a use of the Bible to...
That's a question. Answering a question with a question. That doesn't work.
Right, that's not going to work.
Oh, come on.
Answer the question.
The Bible.
If you don't answer the question, this conversation is over. You're not going to come up here and give me double talk. I asked you a question. You raised it. Now I want you to answer it. Did the Ku Klux Klan use the Bible to perpetuate their message? Yes or no?
There's not a yes or no question because you're using the word use for misuse.
Okay, let's be fair. Imagery, biblical imagery like a burning cross, that's using the Bible, isn't it?
I'd say.
Yeah, if you're going to use a Bible, either it is what it is or it's nothing.
No, imagery. I'm talking about imagery.
You can misuse it, you can misquote it, you can throw it down on the floor and burn it if you want. But you can't just like the Constitution or a Bible and say, I believe in Jesus Christ and I believe in the Bible, so therefore these are my views. But hey, the parts that I don't like, or the parts I don't understand. No, it's not.
Steve, I'm done with you because
I'm sorry, Rudy. I am just so upset.
Well, I'm sorry you're upset.
Sure, Jesus.
But if you call up to talk to me, come with your game in order. You call me up and your game's not in order.
My game is in order.
No, it's not.
Is that anarchists want to destroy us, and the view is that. Do you
think that progressives and liberals want anarchy?
No, but they don't have to. Anarchists want it. It doesn't matter. A crowd can be controlled, like in the theater, the prime example. Let somebody else fire. It's the same thing in these crowd positions. You can control a crowd by foghorns and yelling things that are not true. We're just trying to move forward. Or you go up and get hit, or look what happened in Seattle.
So let's bring this to current day. So when you got your president telling people that the election's been stolen from them, and tells it over and over again to the masses, and it tells them to come to D.C. on January 6th, do you think that's creating anarchy?
Prime example.
Is that creating anarchy?
Prime example. Let's understand that the same thing was done.
Answer the question. I will not let you talk until you answer the question.
Okay. Did he call for protests? No. Did he call for people to come and violence protests? No. Did he call for people to come to support him? True. And do you understand there are facts that are in it? Simplest way to put it. Can you tell me what's an illegal vote?
I'm going to tell you this.
Tell me what is
I'm going to tell you this, and then I'm going to let you go. When you have 60 lawsuits challenging the vote and you lose 59 out of 60, there's telling me that what your argument is specious and unsubstantiated and has no merit. Now, if you want to talk outside the courtroom, now I've said that you haven't been listening to me, you can talk outside the courtroom. You can talk in front of Four Seasons Landscape. You can talk in a Republican headquarters and say fraud, 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 fraud. But if you won't go in the courthouse and say fraud, and you know why you won't go in and say fraud when you're in the courthouse? Because if you didn't tell the truth and you can't prove it in facts, you'll be sanctioned and you might lose your law license. So I don't care about any of this other garbage that you have that tells you that something's wrong. They had 60 opportunities to prove something was wrong. The last one that was dismissed was the other day. They dismissed it and said there was no proof of fraud. That was just this week.
Rudy, there is plenty of proof of fraud. And
Steve, I'm not talking to you anymore. You're done.
Well, paranoia, hate to say this, but paranoia is a mental illness. And we've got to be real careful of how involved that we want to get against something we don't believe in, or to overbelieve in something that we do.
When you keep saying a thing is a thing and you have no proof that it's a thing, that just doesn't make any sense. And listen, I keep saying, I first started saying this about a month ago because I'm trying to make people see the difference. If you stand up in front of a group of people and say fraud, 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 that don't mean anything. It's just you saying that there's fraud, fraud, fraud.
And a group of people might cheer along with you. Fraud,
right,
fraud, fraud.
exactly.
Okay, yeah.
But now, when you go into the courtroom and say there's fraud,
you better prove it.
That's right.
Because it'll be perjury, perjury, perjury.
That's right. That's right. And the person that's in there presenting the case could lose their law license.
Wow.
So all of this, people say, well, the Dominion voting machines did this. And I looked that up after the last time. The guy called me up about the Dominion voting machines. I looked all of that up. I couldn't find anything saying that there's been any pattern of malfunction of Dominion voting machines. And Dominion is contemplating a lawsuit against Sidney Powell and Donald Trump. They don't know if they're going to go after Donald Trump for sure, but they're going after Sidney Powell because those allegations hurt their business. And I hope that wouldn't shock anybody that the President of the United States is saying your voting machines are fraudulent and that might not have an effect. I mean, come on.
Talk about liability.
Right. That's a pretty straightforward case right there, to tell you the truth.
Well, Karl Marx, I believe it was Karl Marx that said if you tell a lie over and over again, people believe it's the truth. Since Steve is such a Vladimir Putin and Karl Marx fan,
yeah,
that he didn't address that, but along the lines of telling a lie over and over again and people believing it, we've seen this clearly, and on both sides, mind you, because a lot of folks have they just assume because I work with a radio station that has some big top name conservatives, so they assume, and you know what happens when you assume, you got to break it down. They assume that I'm a right-wing conservative, and that's not true at all. Because I'm right there elsewhere. I'm not like everybody else. I have to do something different. When they park backwards on Friday, when they back in instead of pulling in on Friday, I back in on the normal days and I pull in normally on Friday because I just don't do everything just because everybody else does. I have to look at something. And you know what I found, Rudy? And you might not believe me, this coming out of my mouth, but as I was observing all this with the stimulus package and knowing a lot of people need that money, we've watched the fight play out to where it was a $1,200 check to begin with, and there was supposed to be another $1,200 check, which became a $600 check. But then our president said, let's make it $2,000. Well, the Democrats said, yes, let's do that. Let's make it $2,000. But when it got to the Senate, what happened? The Republican-controlled Senate said no, which to me would indicate, wait a minute. And all this time, they're trying to lead us to believe that the deep state are the Democrats in the media. No, it's the media, all right, but not necessarily the Democrats. And guess what kind of proves that? When the Republicans come in and say, no, you're not going to get 2,000. So there, you will get 600 and you will love it and you'll be thankful. And that's all you're going to get. So did you get your $150 stimulus check yet? did you get that $75 stimulus check yet?
Yeah,
So,
well, first off, let me say this, because he was talking about the economy. Here's what, and I'm going to tell you my position on the economy. Trickle-down economics is a disaster. Every economist worth his salt will tell you it did not work.
yeah.
Do I want my government controlling all the means of production? The answer to that is no. But somewhere between capitalism and socialism, there is an answer. There's an answer somewhere between there. And I think what we need is to have is a blended economy, which we have partially a blended economy now because we have Medicare. And that's really a socialist benefit. But if we had a blended economy where we had some social benefits along with capitalism, I think there's an answer. But trickle-down economics is definitely not the answer. And that's the answer conservatives want to keep pushing at us all the time, that's just the be-all and end-all. But let me give you these observations that I came up with after doing all of my research, since we're getting near the end of the hour.
Wow. Goes by fast, too,
Yeah,
sometimes.
it does, yeah. So, and if you want to call and challenge any of these observations I've made, please feel free to do so. Conservatives do not like change. From all the reading that I've done, it seems to me that that's one of the major sticking points with conservatives. They really don't like change. Number two, they are fearful of what they think the country may become due to the demographic changes.
Ah.
Conservatives are very fearful of that. And we got Chuck on line one. Yes, Chuck.
Yeah. I was unaware that Medicare was a socialist program.
You don't think Medicare is a socialist program?
First time I've heard of it. How's it socialist?
What is socialism?
I'm asking you. Don't give me a question with a question. I ask you, how is it socialist?
Because it gives benefits to people in a certain category by the government.
Oh. Now, people didn't pay into this then, right?
Yes, they did.
I know a
Okay,
guy.
then how does that make it? Then how does that make it a socialist program?
Do you
if
think
pay
that,
into it?
do you think your contribution? Do you think your
Is a 401
contribution?
pro
Do you think your contribution to Social Security is equivalent to the benefits that you get out of it?
over the years? Interest, yeah. Do I think Medicare is socialist? No. I have to pay for the insurance. Now, if it was true socialism, would I have to pay money into it for my insurance on Medicare?
Yes.
The answer is no.
The answer is yes.
You don't pay any. No.
Yes, you do.
In socialism, you don't. The
Yes,
state
you do.
gives you everything.
Yes,
no,
you do.
Don't. You don't.
You're wrong. Okay, now let me explain to you why you're wrong. You're making Social Security an exception because you make a personal direct payment. If you're in Canada and you get socialized health benefits from the state of Canada, you have paid for that through the taxes that they collect from you as a citizen of the country. Can you see that?
Same thing as my income tax. Isn't that the same thing?
I'm just saying that you That is a socialist benefit that they give Canadians that they don't pay any direct payment for, but they pay for it by covering it by the taxes that they pay to the country, that then turns around and provides the benefits.
Okay, so Medicare, by what you just said, I should not have to pay money for my health insurance, should I? It should be provided through the taxes that the United States takes from us, does it not?
Well, part of it you don't have to pay for.
Oh, I pay Part B.
Yeah.
Now,
yes,
what you just said about comparing Canada to our Medicare, they don't pay into anything like their Part B, would they?
Well, they
It would
pay,
be given to them. What you said,
but
it
you're-
would be
but
given to them through the taxes collected by the government. The government collects taxes from us. So therefore, I shouldn't have to pay into Part B, should I? To be true socialism.
Well, we don't have as high a taxes as Canada either.
Rudy, don't double speak me.
I'm not double speaking you. I'm telling you the truth.
I'm
We don't
asking
have
you
taxes as high as Canada.
to agree.
Huh?
Do they? All right, let me tell you something. I got a 1.3% increase in my pay and Social Security. Awesome. You know what? My take-home pay is still going to be the same. Why? They increased my money that I have to pay into Part B for my medicines and my social and my medical care. Now, I'm sorry, but true socialism, I wouldn't have to pay a penny. The
That's not
government
true.
would hand it to me like Canada would.
I keep telling you that's not true.
What's not true, Rudy?
I keep telling you that what you're saying is not true. You're making the assumption that if they are not making a direct payment like you are into Social Security, then it is a complete socialist benefit, and yours is not because you have to make a direct payment. You're both making payments. You're just making them two different ways. That's all.
By what you said about Canada and what you said about the United States, wrong. Because the United States takes federal income tax, as you've always told me, out of my Social Security. Do they not?
Yes, they do take.
Yes.
They take
Okay,
taxes.
there is a tax there. Did they not take money out of my income for Social Security? Yes. So now I'm supposedly getting all this socialist benefit, which I shouldn't have to pay a penny through what is true socialism.
You don't
which
know.
would be like Canada, which would be like England, which would like be all the European and communist states. You don't pay anything because the government hands it to you. The government doesn't hand me medical
The
care
government
or
doesn't
insurance.
hand it to you, Chuck. You pay for it in taxes.
Yes,
I got
do.
friends.
So-
I got friends in Canada. I've gone over this with them 1,000 times, so I was sure that I understand how it works. You pay taxes, and in exchange for paying the taxes, they provide the benefits. You pay Social Security, and in exchange for paying Social Security, you get benefits. Okay? And I can tell you, since I am a professional medical advantage agent, the amount of money you pay every month for your advantage plan or whatever plan you have is not adequate to cover the cost of the benefits that you get in return unless you never go to the doctor.
All right. How much do the Canadians pay into their health insurance
I don't,
after the government gives them their money?
I don't know the
Take their
exact
money.
number, but what difference does that make?
How do you know that they do?
Because I have talked to someone from Canada who told me that that's what they do.
Okay. So do they pay for their Part B?
You're mixing apples and oranges. Why
No,
are you so
you're
stubborn?
mixing
Why are you
apples.
being stubborn? You're being
I'm
stubborn.
not being stubborn. I'm giving you facts, and you're narrow-minded and won't accept them.
What facts are you giving me that I'm not accepting?
For crying out loud.
Just
I'm
mere
telling
argument
you
is not
what I
fact.
do each month. Beg pardon? I'm not, I'm not paranoid and
But
mentally ill.
what facts are you giving me
Okay.
that I'm not accepting?
The fact that the Medicare is not a socialist program because I still have to pay money into it. A true socialist program, I would not have to pay any more money into it after they've collected all the taxes.
I know a homeless guy who's never, ever had anything but an under-the-table job for a couple months at a time. His whole life, he became disabled. He gets $900 a month for Social Security benefits after not putting anything, really, maybe $2,000 of income in his whole life went into his Social Security. And he's getting a big old check every month. Now, is that socialism?
Big old check?
What's
How
that
much
again?
of a big old check is he getting?
About
I'll tell
$900.
you what, my wife is disabled. She worked all her life.
Right.
She's disabled, and you know what Social Security gives her a month?
How much?
$345 a month.
Yeah. Well, this guy I'm talking about, he
Will
gets about
be-
$900.
Wow. And he didn't pay much into
He
it.
didn't. He.
So how come?
Yeah.
So how come he gets more than my wife?
Well, see, that's the guy that you got to ask the tax guy and the tax code people about that.
No, I
Chuck,
don't have
Chuck,
that.
now let me ask you another question here, Chuck. How much do you pay
Go
for
ahead.
law enforcement? How much do you
How
pay
much do I pay him?
for law enforcement?
Whatever they take out of my taxes.
Okay. Do you pay anything
Same as
directly?
you.
Wait. Do you pay anything?
Taxes.
Do you pay anything directly for law enforcement?
No, you don't.
Do you pay
The
anything?
Canadians?
Do you pay
School
anything
tax, maybe?
directly
Do it.
for
Do the
fire
Canadians
service?
pay directly? Answer my question.
This is the United
The
States.
Canadians do pay directly for their police support.
What's that now? The point that I'm
Do
trying
the
to make is
Canadians
you're getting services, you're getting police services for free.
That's socialism.
Is
Oh,
it?
so
I don't know. You
policing is
tell me.
socialism.
What is it? What is
No,
that?
you're saying it is.
I'm
Well,
asking
that's
you.
what
Tell
your
me what that
opinion
is.
is.
Tell me
Hey,
what that is. You're getting a benefit from the government for nothing that you don't have to pay for. What is that?
It's taken out of taxes, Rudy. Do I pay for schooling for the people indirectly? No. But it's taken out of taxes,
Is so the
right?
teacher. Well, the
So
teacher.
now,
Well, yes, it is taken out of taxes. That's the whole point I've been making from the beginning.
no. You're saying that Medicare and Social Security are a socialist program. I'm telling you, if it's a true socialist program, I would not be paying for my medical care and my medical insurance through Medicare. That would be a true socialist program if I did not have to. It's not that hard.
Okay, I'm not gonna argue with you
I
anymore.
can't make a new. I can't. Neither am I, because you can't seem to understand. So
Oh,
let it
you're the
go.
one that can't understand, sir. I can understand perfectly. I can
No, you
understand
can't.
perfectly. I'm a very intelligent guy. I understand perfectly.
I did not say
I
you
can't.
were. What did
I
I-
can't bring you over the bridge and let you see that because you pay a premium, you say that doesn't make that a socialist program, and because you pay a part of it, you don't. It's not a socialist program, and you think if you don't pay anything, that's the only way it can be a socialist program. That's just not true. Schools are a socialist program. You
So,
pay for it out of
you
your
call me
taxes.
unintelligent.
You pay for it out of your taxes, but it doesn't cost you anything. Because people like myself, after their kids are all grown, I'm still paying taxes for somebody else's kid to go to school.
Well, I am too.
I know.
It comes out of my
Is
tax.
that
I don't
socialist?
work, so what's the big thing about that?
Is that socialist?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Archives of this show can be seen on YouTube. Look for WPSL TV and hear all the calls.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for being on the show with us.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah. Why does Rudy have to know all about Vladimir Putin and socialism? Rudy's not a socialist, so he doesn't need socialist advocates to call up and put his feet to the fire.
I don't listen. I don't know why they. First of all, if they really truly looked up socialism, and I try to get them to explain that, most people don't even understand what socialism is. Socialism is a philosophy more than anything that says if you allow the free market to control the economy, ultimately it will create a poor proletariat because the capitalist market is all consuming, and it will eat up all of the people that's in its path. Okay? There's certainly proof that some of that has happened. I heard something tonight just before we went on that is a ray of sunshine and put a big smile on my face. Amazon setting up that program to help 20,000 employees buy houses.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now that is the way you can really enhance the economy and the way corporations can make a positive contribution to society.
And folks need to not knee-jerk react to buzzwords that are designed to make you give very embarrassing knee-jerk reactions. Because when a knee-jerk reaction, you can accidentally kick somebody in the butt and not know it, and then you're liable.
And you know what? That's again right what the book talks about. Stewart talks about how they come up with these phrases and talking points that trigger a certain kind of behavior out of people, and then they hang that tag around someone's neck. Yeah. I kind of realized that when they kind of chased us from being liberals to progressive. They hung liberal around your neck like it was a curse word. I don't run from that anymore. I caught myself initially trying to move away from that word and be a progressive.
They're also assuming that you're a socialist when they call, which is a big mistake because he's not a socialist, friends. And if you assume that he's a socialist and you hold his feet to the fire over questions about socialists and socialism, you're barking up the wrong tree.
Exactly.
Wow. How time flies when we're having fun around here.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'd like to thank you guys for indulging me while I was coughing on here. And the bad part of that is I quit smoking too. So, but this cough's got me.
How long's it been now since you quit smoking?
5-6 days.
Wow, good luck. Hey, if you can make it 3 weeks, you've got it done.
Yeah.
You know that. Okay.
Yep. Well, look, I'd like to thank you so much for tuning into the African American scene. God bless, be safe, and I will see you right here next Wednesday for the African American scene.
The African American Scene with Rudy Howard, brought to you by Howard Insurance of Port St. Lucie. Wednesday nights at 6:05. This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.